To our division personnel, headed by our school's division superintendent, Dr. Feliciano C. Benefe Jr., CESO 6, and our assistant schools division superintendent, Mr. Rogelio P. Amador. To our recommending officer, the public schools district supervisor of Cluster 9, Mr. Erwin C. Villeza, and our confirming officer, the public schools district supervisor of Cluster 10, Mr. Joan C. Adoyogan. To our valued and supportive Principal 4, Dr. Susana L. Lexio. To all the department heads, master teachers, faculty and staff of Tanque National High School, students, parents, and most importantly, grade 10 completers, good day. In Forrest Gump, a 1994 film starring Tom Hanks as a titular character, there was a conversation between Forrest and his childhood best friend Jenny. It was a rainy and cold evening when Jenny asked him, "Do you ever dream, Forrest, about who you're gonna be?" Forrest replied, "Who I'm gonna be? Aren't I going to be me?" And then Jenny exclaimed, "Of course you'll always be you, but just another kind of you." When we were still young, we were oftentimes asked about who and what we want to be in the future. The question we were always asked, especially during our primary years in school. Perhaps that question is a very easy question back then because we have an automatic answer to that, right? Some of you might have answered you wanted to become a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, an engineer, or an astronaut. But growing up, it seems that the years that add up to our age also diminish and blur our perception of ourselves during childhood. Other than the physical changes that we experienced, as adolescence unfolds in front of our very eyes, our interests change, our values, our attitudes, our dreams. Lucky are those who grew up believing and holding on to their childhood dreams and pursued it until adulthood. But there are also those who grew up confused, unsure, and full of questions. But mind you, my dear completers, that is completely normal. All we need is just time. Time to figure out who we are, time to figure out who we want to be, and time to figure out where we want to go. Just be patient and give yourself time. They say that the longer we live, the more we understand that everything always works out in the end. In a lifetime, we become who we want to be when we just let ourselves immersed in all the realities of life and just to dwell in the present. Personally, I equate the present with experience. Experience, a very common word but oftentimes taken for granted by most of us. As thinking, radical, and logical human beings, we perceive the world around us through our experiences. Through our experience, we learn. We fail and then learn. We stumble and then learn. We fall and then eventually learn. See, what really is the most important thing is that we learn from all of our experiences. When I was in elementary, I was really a very shy pupil who does not even smile in all of my elementary photos. I do not know why, but I was really timid and reserved. But when I transferred from Inzo Arnaldo Village Elementary School, now Iavis, to Pilar Elementary School when I was in grade 6, I met our class advisor / science and English teacher, whom I consider one of my most favorite teachers who have impacted my life to an extent she does not even know. Imagine the life of a pupil who does not even say a word unless asked in the group of pupils he does not know yet. I was a wallflower. But on the third day of school, we had the election of our class officers. And do you know who was elected as our class president? Yes, it was me. And until now, I still don't know why. It still amazes me up to this moment. How did an introvert pupil become the leader of all his classmates he know nothing about? From then on, The responsibility of taking over a class whenever a class advisor, Ma'am Ruth Bernales, wasn't around was all mine. I remember taking over the class in science for the whole week because Ma'am Ruth had to attend to a seminar. Looking back to that experience, that is where I learned the value of taking a responsibility and the skill of leadership. From there, I have begun to discover some of my strengths and made me believe in those strengths, and that somehow increased my self-esteem. There, I learned that whenever someone trusts you of something, you need to take good care of that trust and live up to what is expected from you by that person. Also, when you are given a responsibility, take that seriously and do your best to perform and deliver. That is called accountability. Another lesson I learned from that experience. After graduating in elementary, the fear of entering high school started to creep in and dawn on me. After finishing 6 years of tumultuous elementary education, here now another 4 years of reading, writing, listening, speaking, taking exams, submitting outputs, and the likes. As a student, I can say that I am studious. I read a lot, I watched Pilipinas Game Ka Na Ba a lot, I made my own reviewers every periodic exams, and see to it that I submit my outputs on time. When I was in first year high school, in Marciano and Patricio National High School, still in Pilar, Capiz, I can say that I am a responsible student. I joined the spelling bee contest, journalism, and I even tried joining a folk dance competition. Imagine, life back then was very difficult financially. Among sudan panyaga pinaisan kundi man uga. Nagagutos lang kay papuli kaya amon pamasahe ginabakal namo na natadiko ko nga juice higad karsada. But it did not hinder me from doing my best in school. Everything went smoothly until one day, if my memory serves me right, it was in the second quarter that I got 78th grade in mathematics from a very strict teacher. I can't ever forget it because in my entire life, that was the only line of 7 that I have got. But somehow, I am thankful for that experience because that taught me humility. One important value that I really keep until now. They say, true humility is staying teachable regardless of how much we already know. We are not invincible, we are not perfect, we have flaws, and we still have a lot to learn. As an individual, it is okay to think highly of ourselves, but we should know when to draw the line of when to think of ourselves less. Our capacity, intellect, talents, and skills, these will all deteriorate. But how we use this to affect others will forever stay. We should not think of ourselves as superior over the others. Always remember, there are things that you have that others don't have, but others also have things that you don't have. We are all equal, just in a different path and circumstances. I spent the last 3 years of my high school education in Tangke National High School. Yes, my dear grade 10 completers, I also graduated here. After finishing first year high school in Pilar, Capiz, we transferred back here in Rojas City. I know, we were like nomads back then. No permanent address. And it was an additional struggle to always adapt and acculturate in a new environment. I was a sophomore when I entered Tangke National High School with the late and the great Ma'am Maria Animay as our class advisor. It was really in high school that I got to discover a lot about myself, and it was also during those years that I was able to acquire values and life lessons that I did not know I needed until I entered college. It was in high school that I learned the value of gratitude. The trainings, advices, and tutelage I have had with my former teachers are something that I am most grateful for and made me realize that I am forever indebted to all of them for helping me become a step closer to my dreams. I will never forget our Tagisan ng Talino days with Ma'am De La Cruz, our CAT drills with Sir Bustilio, our MAPE culminating activities with Ma'am Sevilla, Naginpakanta pa ako sa sang Because You Love Me. Cringy. Our cooking sessions with Ma'am Arakel, our reporting and class presentations in Araling Panlipunan with Ma'am Gardona, who always gave the easiest and challenging activities in economics, our El Filibusterismo lessons and debates with Ma'am Pinuela, our Heal the World interpretative dance with Ma'am Antique, our free times memorizing the poem The Crossroads with Ma'am Palaya, and my valedictory speech which was made for me by Ma'am Karen, and a lot more. In short, I am who I am today because of the kind of teachers that they were. If not because of them, I will not be speaking here today in your midst. Now that they are already my colleagues in the academe, I have always considered them as my teachers, so the respect and admiration I had for them is here with me and will forever stay. So all of you, when time comes that you are on your own, successful and already living your life as you wished, always look back and thank your teachers. No amount of money nor material things can ever repay them for preparing you for your destined future. After finishing high school, uncertainty of going to college had started to occur to me. Questions like, how can I pay for my tuition fee considering that my father is just a tricycle driver and my mother a kakanin vendor? Their income is just enough for our primary needs. In fact, I can still remember Mama asking me to consider not enrolling in college instead. But good thing, the experiences of living a hand-to-mouth existence had taught me the value of perseverance. So I persevered. I told myself I didn't want my mother to sell kakanin forever. Being the eldest, I didn't want to make my siblings experience how difficult it is to live a poverty-stricken life. So with the scholarships that I had, being the class valedictorian of our batch, I went to Philomar Christian University, then college, where I did not have to pay for my tuition fee. But that was only for the first semester. For me to maintain my scholarship, I had also to maintain my grades. And as a freshman in college, the library was my kind of place. I studied really hard because that was the only thing I knew I am good at doing to finish college. I can vividly remember I had a notebook where I used to write the grade that I should get in each subject so I can maintain my scholarship. Gina-forecast ko na inasad to akong grades. Like for example, kung 1.5 lang ako sa anatomy, dapat maka 1.25 ako sa zoology, or dapat maka flat 1 ako sa botany. Something like that. And do you know when I'm most nervous? Every time mag-release ng class cards. Ang kulba ko kung matched bala sa forecasted grades ko ang tuod ko nga grades. And with God's grace, I have indeed maintained my scholarship until I graduated. Pero it did not stop there. Since tuition lang ang free, may miscellaneous fee pa nga need bayaran. And I can also remember there was this one professor who was from a different department who was very strict with the examination permits. She really stood by the rule, no permit, no exam. And I was one of the very few students in our class who always have no examination permits on the day of the exam because I was not able to pay for the remaining fees since my parents still have to look for money to pay them. Oftentimes, my mother have to go to school to give promissory note for me, just for me to get an examination permit. And so, this professor asked everyone who had no permit to leave the room. And that was one of the darkest days of my college life that I really felt it's really mahirap maging mahirap. Imagine entering the room prepared for the exam, but since you have no permit, you have no choice but to live and accept the rule, though it's kind of unfair. But on the same day, I came to my mathematics professor, Dr. Parse, and told her what happened. So she lent me money to get an examination permit and eventually made me able to take the exam. And I realized the Lord always gives us everything that we need. It just comes in different forms, sometimes negligible, sometimes very obvious. That is why I always thank the Lord for my college professors. They were the good Samaritans in my journey. They were my angels. And with that, I couldn't thank them enough. Sometimes, as we sojourn towards our desired destination, we feel like we are alone, with no one beside us. But along the path, the Lord has placed different stopovers. And in each stopover, there are people who will help us, test us, guide us, challenge us, and lead us towards the next until we reach the place where we want to be. We just have to have faith in ourselves, in our dreams, and in God. Before we graduated college, one professor asked us to make our own career plan. What do we intend to do after graduation? What do we do next? What are the goals that we still need to attain? And what I have written in my career plan are the following. I can still memorize this because I still have a copy of this. First, pass the board exam, which I did 7 months after I graduated. Second, get hired in a public school, which I achieved last June 2014, a year after my graduation. Third, finish my master's degree before I turned 25, which I did last 2017, 5 months shy of my 25th birthday. Fourth, finish my doctorate degree before I reach 40 years old, which medyo napaaga because I already finished it last 2020, last year, before I turned 28. Fifth, in between, I will support my family and send my younger siblings to school, which I'm still doing until now. Sixth, give back. And 7, update this career plan. And with the career plan that I have set for myself, I have devoted my time, effort, and energy to attain everything that was written in there. I think one of the good things that I love about myself, other than being positive that everything will always end up for the good, is my focus. When I want to achieve something, I will really do my best to achieve that. And it was always the will of the Lord that had paved the way in all of my accomplishments. Our dear completers, in life, you really need to set your eyes on your goals. However, always maintain the integrity, decency, honesty, and character on your way towards claiming it. Sometimes we get blinded by our own desire that we forget how it is to be fair, to enjoy, to value hard work, to prioritize things, to rest, and most importantly, to fail. There are times that things don't go the way we want it to be, but that does not negate our goals. Always remember that the road to success is like an expressway. There will be bumps and detours along the way, but keep your eyes to your destination so you won't get lost. It may be a long way to go, but it's always worth the travel. These accounts of my experiences may not be similar to yours, but always remember to take each lesson in each experience you face. Collect them, treasure them, leave them. Time will come that you will be needing all of them. Just like in my case, the lessons of leadership, taking responsibility and accountability, humility, gratitude, perseverance, love of family, faith, optimism, and focus. These are all the values that I hold dear in my heart. I do not say though that these are the most important, but I can assure you that these values will get you places. Completers, as you enter senior high school, may you always remember these 9 key reminders that I have made for you. First, always take the lead. Be the leader of the pack and make a difference. Second, take responsibility and accountability of your actions and decisions, and always bear in mind that excuses don't get results. Third, be humble and always learn by heart James chapter 4 verse 6. God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. Fourth, always be grateful and give thanks. Appreciate the little things and acknowledge all things that keep your life happy and steady. Fifth, persevere in the face of adversity. A river cuts through a rock not because of its power, but its persistence. Sixth, love and always honor your family. your parents, and your siblings. Consider them as your inspiration, your reason, and your motivation. Seventh, have faith in the Lord. Just like Vincent van Gogh had said, I am still far from being what I want to be, but with God's help, I shall succeed. Eighth, be positive. A positive person always sees the good in every bad. And lastly, focus. Focus on your goals. Focus on the things that matter. And always remember, your focus determines your reality. Before I end, I would like to leave this beautiful advice I once got from a mentor. When you are at the top, be careful of the monster called pride. Pride will make you look down on the people who haven't attained your level of success. When you are at the bottom, be careful of the monster called bitterness. Bitterness will make you jealous and think that other people are the reason you haven't made it. When you are on the way to the top, be careful of the monster called greed. Greed will make you impatient and make you steal or seek shortcuts. When you are on your way down, be careful of the monster called despair. Despair will make you think it's all over, yet there is still hope. Once again, thank you, my dear Tangkay National High School, for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It is always a pleasure to be of service to you. And my congratulations to all the completers of Batch 2021. You all made it. And to borrow one of my teachers' challenge to me when I graduated in high school, see you in one of the pages of Great Men and Women. And to close, I want to ask you the exact same question Jenny asked Forrest. Do you ever dream about who you're gonna be? Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless us, and may we all continue dreaming.